Baba dah kalau mama.
Damas, mas wana ya Roma karanta.
Bukan machine na.
Oh, ko chano bang arwi.
Okay.
Kuba ba wa gini da ku ko shin maya.
Kindly mute Victor.
Yes. Hello. Hello. Shona, kindly do what?
Victor, kindly mute yourself so that we can get the meeting started. Our facilitator is here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I should mute myself. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for making it on time for our second program of this season, I suppose I should say. Today we are going to have Dr. Sean Oluseun Ajayi speak with us about real estate funding. But I thought that maybe I could first, to begin with, introduce him in his other capacity as the Vice Chair for the Future Leaders of African Real Estate Society, to say hello to you. And we can get started from that point. My apologies. My name is Fiona Toliver. I am the Program Director of the Future Leaders of African Real Estate Society. I forget that the first event was not very highly attended. But yes, it's a privilege to serve in this capacity. And thank you once again for making the time to join us. It's the holiday season. I understand it's a sacrifice, but these programs are made for us. We are the ones that benefit from it. So thank you regardless for joining. Dr. Sean, over to you, please.
Okay. Hi, Fiona. Good evening from Oxford. Hi, everyone. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Can you kindly give me co-host's privilege so I can share my presentation?
Right. Priscilla, kindly, just a minute, sorry. Priscilla, kindly grant Dr. Sean hosting privileges.
Okay, is she there? I doubt she's.
Priscilla, are you there? I had to give her the hosting rights because my connection is a bit unstable.
Okay.
Let me just check with her on the phone, please.
I'm working on it.
Okay, she's there. All right, so while she's trying to do that, good evening to everyone. My name is Oluseun Ajayi, and well, in my capacity as the Vice Chair of the Future Leaders of the African Real Estate Society, I want to also welcome everyone to a capacity building workshop of this nature. And as the program chair did mention, this is a sacrifice, that you guys have had to leave your comforts and to be part of this. I want to assure you it's worth it, because one, I think this is the only platform that has enabled the transfer of relevant information across various professional organizations as far as I'm concerned. I'm saying this categorically because I have benefited immensely from the African Relay Society. My journey over the last couple of years has stemmed, or rather I would say the successes. Okay, someone says he can't hear. Is that the same thing with everyone?
No.
No, we're able to hear you.
Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So I think, Henry, you can maybe log out and then come back in. Okay, Priscilla, I would let me give you a co-host. Oh, okay. Oh, I see where the issue is. I think you can only have a host. Oh, I think we need to sort this out. Some people are saying they can't hear me. What could be the reason?
Could
Okay,
I please try and log in again?
Yeah, you should log in again and click on you know, when you're coming in, it gives you various options of dialing in. So click on the Wi-Fi option. If you're using you know, Wi-Fi for your connection. And then apart from that, if you can't hear me, if you can't hear me, then you need to go to your you know, you click on the, place your cursor on the microphone, on your microphone, and then you'd see there's an arrow points upward. And then so you can click on there and then tweak a few things to see if you can, you know, hear me. All right, so I'll just go ahead for the benefit of the others. Sorry, let me check the other messages. Okay, that means the general issue. I thought it was only me. Okay, I doubt it's a general issue. I think it's just a couple of people, few people. And what they have to do is just to log out and then log back in. Okay. So I'll go ahead with my presentation. Not getting anything from my end, please. Wow. Okay. Please log off and then log in again, please. What could be the issue? If you can hear, just type yes in the chat pane. If you can't hear me, then you can say no. You can type no. Oh, okay, good. Hurry, good. All right, good. All right, good. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right. So I think we have a majority there. So if you can't hear, thank you for doing that. If you can't hear, just kindly log off and then log back in. Thank you for doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen now so we can get this over with it. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is very important for each and every one of us. Okay, let me go to the, yeah, there we go. So can you see my screen, Fiona?
Yes, we can.
All right, fantastic. Wow. Okay, so my name is Oluseun, like everyone has heard. And well, that's a beautiful picture of my university, the extension, and then behind and some other places. I will share with you why I may have to talk about my university in the UK. But like I was saying earlier, quite a lot of things that has represented successes in my journey are stemmed from you know, quite a lot of things, activities at the African Relay Society. A lot of people also underrate the profound power of referrals, of recommendations from the African Relay Society. And that's because they perhaps haven't attempted to even harness. Are we recording this? We have not even tried to harness the opportunities inherent within the African society. But I can tell you that majority of the successes recorded in our journeys, I will mention a few names, someone like Dr. Kofi Gavu, Professor Kola Akinsomi, a lot of people. The successes recorded stemmed from the African Relief Society. So I'm grateful that this has not stopped. This has been sustained, and we as individuals ourselves, we're a tank of relevant information, and what we do is to always try to dispense value in the form of information. I was in Nigeria recently, and I did discover that the issue with attaining success is having the right information. I can also tell you candidly and categorically, I wanted to spend 2 weeks officially in Nigeria, but I ended up getting 4 weeks being sponsored by my university. The first 2 weeks I spent going around universities, speaking to estate management students at private universities, Covenant, for instance, University of Lagos, Leeds City University, top universities of real estate in Nigeria. But I'm focused now on the second part of my sojourn in Nigeria, the last 2 weeks. Well, I wanted to extend because I'd missed quite a lot of things in Nigeria. It was after 7 to 8 years. I haven't been in Nigeria for 7 to 8 years. So it was fun seeing old friends. It was fun eating suya and things like that. I haven't eaten them in years. So the last 2 weeks in Nigeria established that the right information, being with the right people, is a shortcut to success. I wanted to use the last 2 weeks to do some certain things, which is private to me. I may mention in some later time. But I can tell you that being with the right people, what should take me a year journey, absolutely took me just about, I would say, a few days. And I found myself, because I got the direction and I was sitting with the right people, I found myself sitting with guys that make decisions in Nigeria. You know what I mean? And I was just dumbfounded that, this is how the world runs, So regardless of your grade in the university, first class, second class, you're a professor, you're a doctor, whatever the case is, if you don't consistently work with the right information or the right people or the right association, you will likely be left behind, And when you're left behind, you will get frustrated. And when you get frustrated, you will hate and be jealous or envy those who are doing well. But they are doing well because they're doing the right thing. They got the right information, and they're working toward. I mean, they are resilient. I've had this to say to many people. Resilience makes me look intelligent. I'm not. So many people, my friends, you're a genius, this and that. But I've told them I was one of the dullest guys back in the university days, and I was one of the guys that would ask the class rep to show me his assignment so I can submit, so I can copy and submit. That's how bad, how dull I was those days. But I realized, I had a mind recalibration after meeting a couple of people who said to me that they model towards attaining success. When the attainment of that success makes you look like, are you part of this world? Because it quickens your journey, right? It quickens your journey. So the model they give to me is RPIT. R stands for right, then P stands for people, I stands for information, and then T stands for time. So for every individual, we have can we mute? Okay. I think I'll mute everybody. Excuse me. Where's Fiona? So I can be Fiona, right? Yeah, Fiona, is your mic up? Hi, Fiona. Okay. Yeah, but I hope everyone can hear me. Can everyone still hear me? Just type yes. All right, fantastic. Thank you. I'll just go ahead. So, the right, I was talking about the model, RPIT. Please listen carefully. This is very important. Like I was saying, every individual has got, you know, different phases. There are dark times. There are capacity building or development periods in our lives. There's a time to now attain, right? There's a time for diminishing returns and so many things like that. But the model RPIT keeps you going when you adopt it, right? So the RPIT is right people. The right people are going to give you the right information that's relevant for your phase. So the time that you find yourself, I'm not talking about a literal time, I'm talking about whatever time you find yourself, maybe doing PhD, doing whatever it is that you're doing, seeking for scholarships or trying to fly out of a certain country to another place and trying to seek funding for that. There are people that should be strategically placed in your life or your journey that will give you the right information. They'll just tell you, look, speak to this person, and that's it. So let me shock you. My coming to Nigeria, for instance, I never used my funds. It was sponsored entirely, including my stipends, everything, you know, was sponsored. The last couple of years, I'm talking about last 5, 6, 7 years, I've never used my money to pay for flights. It's always been sponsored. My PhD, my you know, every other thing is being sponsored. So, and I'm going to show you how I was able to attain all of this, but don't forget, and I'm trying to humanize this discussion and trying to make it relatable. I was, of course, at a stage where I knew nothing until I started to know, and then I worked with what I knew, and then boom. So let's go ahead. So the importance of real estate education, the first thing that we have to quickly discuss is why we need to get exposed to cutting-edge real estate education. So I don't mean just basic real estate education. I mean real estate education that's fantastic. For instance, at my university, we are trying to introduce a first of its kind, what I call a module, a course for our masters, what I call real estate coding. And we are doing that because that's what's in demand right now. So there are core competencies that are experiencing paradigm shifts. For instance, employability today in the UK, in the US, in those top nations stem from what employers are looking for. So it's beyond what we just teach in the universities. It's now really about seeing whether you've been exposed to what will make their organizations competitive and have advantage. So I said, you know, real estate professionals are in high demand, and quality education significantly impacts career advancement in the industry. Another core competence, apart from property valuation, I mean, real estate coding, then, you know, modeling, financial modeling, that's one other competence. that employers are looking out today. I mean, that's how we drive our curriculum. And I think some other universities have started to do that. They drive their curriculum based on what employers want to see in the CVs or transcript of the student, right? And that makes the graduate employable. And that's it. And that's how to, but how do you then gain access? So that's where I'm going to. Beyond the introduction of these cutting edge modules, how do you then gain access to come study with, I mean, universities of this nature, University of Reading, Henley Business School, the International Real Estate Business School in Germany, within the University of Regensburg. Quite a lot of, I mean, also there are cutting edge modules at University of the Witwatersrand, School of Construction Economics and Management, CM. Cutting edge modules. I mean, as a PhD student those days, I audited some modules, time series analysis, advanced econometrics, although it was quite boring, but it was needful, So how do you access them? Of course, it's funding, right? There should be some funding in your pocket that, pushes you to that phase where you can access modules of this nature, and then you become employable, you become competitive in the market, right? So types of real estate education programs that we talked about that we will focus on. So there are, of course, certifications, there are specialized courses, there are also short courses. Certifications are also short courses, but my focus today is on MSc, PhD, postdoc. Of course, professionals too can benefit. But one honest assertion or establishment this evening is that for short courses, in most cases, that's how universities make money. So I have to be honest with you. It's quite tough to come across funding for programs of this nature, specialized courses, certifications. You may have to self-fund yourself. But I'm speaking about master's programs, PhDs, and postdocs. I will be talking about where you can, get all the opportunities, what you have to do. I'll share a bit of my story, like make it relatable on what I did. And, I'm sure that, of course, the insights will be very beneficial for your journey. It took me 7 years to actually get to the stage I am in now, by the grace of God. But I'm saying in essence that it shouldn't take you 7 years, right? I had some, of course, snags, financial, at some point, economic, emotional, I mean, a PhD, come on. So that, really, but I'm grateful because of that period, because it really built capacity for me. At some point, I was in a hurry to achieve, but I was all constantly reminded that it's baby steps. And for the baby steps, I'm grateful that I was able to get exposed to, capacity building workshops, ideas, insights that helped me for my journey. Now, because a mentor has gone through that journey of 20 years, does not mean a mentee should go through that same journey for 20 years. No, that's balderdash. I think it should even be reduced. If a mentor has gone through a journey for 20 years, it should take the mentee two months, 2 weeks, 2 days perhaps. And that's a litmus test for success for the mentor. Now let's quickly move to where the funding. I've promised myself I wasn't going to waste your time. So where can we find these funding options for scholarships, for instance, for MSc, PhD, postdoc? I have my top 10. I carefully curated this list. I didn't just want to bring out generic or just hypothetical funding options. What you see here on your screen, these are funding options that I've accessed, my mentees have accessed, people within the African Real Estate Society have also accessed. I'm talking about real estate professionals, real estate students or researchers or lecturers, whatever the case is. So number one is the Postgrad Merit Award, is situated at the University of the Witwatersrand. I would have talked about the University of Johannesburg, but I do not have a comprehensive affiliation, except that I served as an external examiner there. I do not have any other sort of, relevant affiliation, relevant in this case, funding with the University of Johannesburg. But I can tell you categorically, they also have their funding options. But with the University of the Witwatersrand, which we call Wits University for short. So there's a criteria, right? And the criteria is academic excellence. And that your immediate past education or your highest educational level should not be beyond a certain number of years, right? For instance, if you're coming for a PhD, it's expected that your master's shouldn't be beyond 2 years, right? And it should also come with some academic excellence. Like, for instance, I'm talking about, excuse me, I'm talking about, in your transcripts, your modules, we want to see distinctions, A's and things like that, B's even, but it's decided by the university, and that covers your tuition. I do not know now currently, but I know that as far back as 2 years ago, they were also pushing out stipends for recipients of this award. So it pays your tuition. You don't have to pay tuition, and then it gives you stipends. You may have to check that out. PMA, they call it PMA for short. Then there's the second one, the African Real Estate Society. There was an MOU signed between AFRES and Henley Business School at the University of Reading here in the UK. They sponsor 10 African scholars. I don't know if there's 2 that I directly mentored. I don't know if they are here. They are on our FLAFRES WhatsApp group. And these guys won 25,000, I think 29,500 pounds or 25,900 pounds. I mean, quite awesome, right? So they usually fund first-class students, best students in their, universities, and, you get access to cutting-edge real estate education, real estate finance and investment, whatever the case is. There was also one of them who also won the Commonwealth scholarship, and he had a problem. The problem was the problem of choosing which of these scholarships he should go with. So I had to advise him to go with the AFRES scholarship, because it's focused on real estate. The other Commonwealth, yeah, it had the component of real estate, but it wasn't focused. It wasn't real estate focused. When I say real estate focused, I mean core real estate. I mean, the other program it was sponsored for, it was more or less around economics, real estate economics, but now taking borrowing courses from finance, investment, and things like that. But here at the University of Reading, it's real estate focused. You will be going through modules like portfolio management, commercial real estate, I think prop tech, even perhaps modeling, whatever the case is. But as long as they are all real estate focused, I mean, that's my prime. So he won that also. And I can tell you also that also stemmed from academic excellence. And this is a point where I'd talk to early career professionals and researchers, particularly researchers, say to them, education is not a scam. And this is why it's important to always take our academics very seriously, because you never know. You never know. You never know. There's also MasterCard Foundation. It sponsors you to, any part of the world, but in most cases, the West, right? I've had guys who have won this also from Nigeria, from Ghana, from South Africa. I've had guys. In fact, there was a chap who won the Commonwealth. So when you say Commonwealth, just know I've also mentioned Chevening scholarship. There was a guy from South Africa. I also mentored him, Mtunzi by name. He won it from South Africa, but he's done with his program and he's back. So I think it was at London School of Economics or Imperial College, London, but he's back to South Africa, Johannesburg, and is doing fantastically well. He was exposed to cutting edge real estate education, and that got him employable. And I think he's working with one of the big four REITs in South Africa now. Now, the next one, number 5, is IREBS. It's called the International Real Estate Business School Research Scholarship. So these guys are situated within the University of Regensburg in Germany. So there are best real estate business schools in the world. Henley Business School, as far as I'm concerned, is number 1 in the world. And second is IREBS, International Real Estate Business School at the University of Regensburg. It's got the likes of these top names in real estate: Professor Kawena Schutte, Professor Jonas Hahn. Quite a lot of them doing great stuff within real estate. Studying under them is it will be memorable. I know that because I've worked directly with them. So they fund masters and a PhD. But again, I'm going to go back to academic excellence. So no funder will dip his hands or our hands in their pockets to fund rubbish. Of course, it comes at a price. You must also demonstrate that you're deserving of an award of this nature or a scholarship of this nature. And I remember in subsequent sessions where we've spoken about these things, I've said that you are proposing an idea to a funder, then it has to be worth the while. It has to be an idea that worth the while. And I've given quite a lot of people shortcuts on how you can make it worth it. And I've said it in simple terms. Simply integrate what the world is currently discussing in your topic. Weave it into your topic. Anything the world is currently discussing, weave it within your topic. Of course, your core area is real estate. Whatever the case is, commercial real estate, facilities management. Then what is the world discussing currently? ESG, sustainability, net zero, right? Prop tech, artificial intelligence. How do we weave these things around real estate? These are the things that attract funding, and it will place you, get you shortlisted, and eventually you win awards of this nature. Well, we're going to get to more details on that. Then at my university, we're coming up, well, I'm just giving you, I should not say this yet, but we're coming up with scholarships. I've benefited from scholarships, and I know perhaps that makes me understand why scholarships are very important, because scholarships has exposed me to cutting edge real estate dynamics, market dynamics, how real estate market performance works and things like that. So, and I know that other people that are around me or behind me or in front of me who still want access, they need funding. So we are, current discussions with some stakeholders who can replicate what's happening at the University of Regensburg And then we perhaps do it, also sign perhaps an MOU with quarter of next year by the grace of God. Then there's also the DAD. The DAD is very, very prestigious. You have short courses. If you have recently completed your master's, you can enjoy the privilege of spending 6 months, 3 months, 1 year in Germany, any university in Germany that audits or can register, can host you for, that duration, 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. But that's a story for another day, because on that alone, there are other things that you have to do. I won that opportunity in 2019, and I know the implications of winning that. So the DAD is also one very important thing that we must look out for. They have 2 deadlines in 1 year. First deadline is March, April every year. The second deadline is October 15 of every year. At some point they closed doors, I think, due to what's happening in Ukraine. And at some point they closed their doors due to COVID-19, but the doors are well open now. They've got so much money that they want to just bring in people into Germany to see what their culture looks like. It's the depth of the motivation behind DAD is absolutely to bring in people into their country and see Germany from a different perspective. That's absolutely the essence, right? And to see that, look, Germany is not all about Adolf Hitler and bombings and things like that, guns and things like that. They are also about excellence. So it's one way of changing the narrative for them. So they got so much money, and their monies come from all this Volvo, Mercedes-Benz, all these guys that make cars. There's a certain policy on that. Yeah, so moving forward, also George Foster funds postdoc opportunities in Germany. You can, the same way you would go for a DAD, the same way you go for a George Foster opportunity. The same thing with Alexander Humboldt Fellowship. You can win as much as 2,600 euros every month. And in actual fact, and by extension, they will pay for your family, your children. Each child rather will get paid. Your spouse gets paid, you get paid. They pay for your flight. Is that awesome, right? And for Alexander Humboldt, you get to spend about 12 months to 24 months. And if the vibes are well in check, then you can extend to about 36 months. There's a possibility on that. So that goes for both George Foster and DAD. DAD pays 857 euros for masters every month, and pays a PhD student 1,200 euros. George Foster 2,650 euros. Alexander Humboldt 2,650 euros. Same thing. Then there is the Harvard Holman Fellowship. One of us, not even one of us, one of us was the first African to win that. And we are super proud of him, Dr. Kofi Gavu, our chair at the Future Leaders of the African Relief Society. Don't worry, I'm going to round up soon. I won't bore you. He won the award, and I think you should also, as a postdoc, you should also perhaps reach out to him and hear those tips. So it's possible for you to also win it. In actual fact, one of us, after Dr. Kofi Gavu, took up the mantle, won it, and he's now in Harvard in the US of A. In person of Tosin Fateh, Dr. Tosin Fateh, So these things are very possible. These opportunities are very accessible. but I will get to the process in a jiffy. But before that, for conference research grants, I've won from the International Real Estate Society. I've won from the International Real Estate Business School. They also fund conference participation. But beyond just conference I would say beyond conference attendance, well, I'll speak about all of that soon. But beyond that, they look out for, academic excellence, but they want to look out for the extent, ratio, participation, activity within a sister society. So your relevant sister society in this case is the African Real Estate Society in it. They want to know to what extent have you helped the sister body, which is AFRES, to advance the frontiers of the vision for which it has been established. What have you done to help build AFRES to the next phase, or to take AFRES to the next phase? What are you doing currently? You know, what vision do you have? You know, have you held positions? It doesn't necessarily have to be substantive positions, but it could be subcommittee positions, right? So I will talk about more about that in a jiffy, like I did mention. Then I won from the American Real Estate Society, which is Aries, James Webb. It was recently advertised by Professor Akinsomi. I think you should jump on that. Again, the eligibility criteria stems from your activities within the African Real Estate Society. Okay, so let me shock you. When I won the James Webb this year, the mail that was sent to me was, thank you for your, it wasn't, the mail that was sent to me wasn't, oh, thank you for getting a first class or anything. It was, thank you for helping the African Real Estate Society towards the next phase. And they highlighted a few things I've done. Thank you for the newsletter, publications. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. And that was it. And I got, so I'm going to talk about that too in a jiffy. I got fantastic recommendations and referrals from our leaders at the African Real Estate Society. So these things are possible, but then what are you doing to, strategically position yourself for opportunities of this nature? The southern chapter of the African Real Estate Society, SAFRES, they also annually, I can't remember if they did fund for this year, the African Real Estate Society conference, but I know that in the last 2 years, I think they did. So, but again, I think the eligibility criteria is that you must be a student, I think a PhD student within the southern chapter, Southern African region, Southern Africa or African region, whatever it is, studying in any of the universities situated. So the Southern African region is inherent with South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Zambia, I've forgotten the other countries, but whatever country is within the Southern African region. So those are my top 10 for scholarships and top 4 for conference research grants. The others, I'll keep it to myself. Sorry, it's a competition, so I won't release it, except you're close to me. My apologies. You can't hold me. So identifying scholarships. So the tips I did mention. So this was where I was supposed to explain how you can apply for these real estate funding options. I think some of you are already aware of the fact that it's a process thing. It's really about the process thing. You can, from a button, you can type and, click open different funding options, but the process is the most important. How strong is your letter of motivation? How strong is your personal statement? How strong are you? How strong are you? How strong are you Are you strategically positioned? That's what I wanted to say. How strongly are you why is English failing me? How strongly are you strategically positioned? That's the word. You have to understand that attainment of these things stem from strategic positioning. to identify and understand that I need to be in this place, I need to do this to be referred or to be recommended to access this opportunity. So a typical example in my case, I shouldn't be talking about it when I'm talking about my story, but very quickly, I know that most times the statement I've heard from my supervisor, PhD supervisor back then, was that, Professor Akinsomi, was that, look, Seun, I don't have money for you, but I can introduce you to this, that. And that's it. But look, would I have been recommended if I had not also created capacity? Because if you know Professor Akinsomi very well, if you have been reaching out to him, please know that he's always in or looking out for people with capacity. He always recommends people. If he recommends you, it means that you have built capacity. He's someone who doesn't joke with his name, his integrity. So for someone of his caliber to recommend you is a big deal. And it's a big signal to the funders. So it's just about strategic positioning, right? Build capacity. Let's see what you have done within the African Relay Society, and a host of other things. I will talk about them. So case studies, individuals that you should actually speak to. There is a certain Matthew Adebile, is within the African Relay Society, the FLAFRES WhatsApp group. He recently won Commonwealth and the AFRES University of Reading Scholarship. Chukwuemeka Opara won the AFRES University of Reading Scholarship. I know others that have won that, but I don't think they are on our group yet. Then there's me, there's Dr. Damilola Jonathan Adedeji. He had his PhD from the University of Pretoria. He's currently, I think, a senior research fellow. I think he's doing his postdoc at the University of Johannesburg. He also won IREBS scholarship, I think his master's, and then he won IREBS travel research grants for conferences and things like that, I think. But speak to him. He's also quite good. He's been tasting from the monies. So please ask him what he's doing differently, uniquely, that you can also tap from. Then there's the boss, Dr. Kofi Gavo, who is the chair of the African Relay Society. He knows particularly what it is or what it takes to win opportunities of this nature. I'm just one person that likes to come out, sit down with you, and tell you what you have to do, step by step, process by process. I think the organizers, perhaps maybe they are also planning something of that nature, where we will now sit down and look at all these opportunities and see how we can apply for them, how we can strategically position people to accessing opportunities of this nature. Okay, sorry, let me do something. Let me go ahead to show. A second, please. There's a page I wanted to show us, but it's not paging. So let me go back to, yeah, I got it. My apologies, please. Okay, good, cool. Hopefully you can see my screen, right? Yeah. Please confirm to me you can see my screen.
Yes, Doctor, we can see your screen.
Fantastic. All right. You can see personal experience. So I've personally attracted $1.7 million US. Don't do YIMO for me because it's true, no jokes. But how did I do it? So I actively participated in conferences. So please see participation as inherent with 1, organizing, 2, presenting papers, 3, reviewing papers, 4, active. So when I say participation, it's not just wearing nice tuxedos, navy blue, cutting nice haircuts, but really about, you know, being responsible. I mean, your responsibility. There are issues within the African Relief Society conference going on. Maybe a room is meant to, what are you doing? What's your responsibility? And how can people measure your responsibility? So that is very important. One of the criteria, or one of the eligibility criteria that I will expose to you today is, for this funding, is how many conferences have you attended? With the International Real Estate Business School, they ask that question. How many conferences have you attended? How many? You know, so that's very important. Then I have a unique volunteer experience. I started with the African Relief Society as a volunteer to the extent of, humbly speaking, being recognized by the leaders of the African Relief Society. They were the ones. I don't know if Professor Akinsomi is here. If he's here, you just smile at this boy. They were the ones that sat down together and said, let's appoint Seun in substantive capacity. He's doing too much for the African Relief Society. I say that with all sense of modesty and humility. And okay, I don't want to say, but okay, substantive position where I was now being paid. But I started as a volunteer. And what was I doing as a volunteer? I discovered or identified the areas that needed progress, or that needed boost, or that needed to be, you know, done better. One of those areas was organizing befitting webinars. So I was always at the back end doing the dirty jobs, I mean, getting getting letters sent to the speakers, the whoever is going to facilitator, reminding participants, sending bulk emails, responding to mails, doing Excel stuff, designing. I was practically designing posters. I was doing videos. I was doing posters. I was doing videos. And I think just like, I know, come on. I mean, we have to appoint this guy. And that was how I became executive director assistant. I think I was the first executive director assistant, and then Teresa now came in. So, and even with that, I was also involved with the web management of the African Relief Society, social media space of the African Relief Society. I mean, and then again, I was appointed as newsletter director. I think the first newsletter and first of its kind in the African Relief Society, according to Professor Akinsomi, I was the newsletter director. I was the one who published it. And the second one, I was the one who published it. I mean, you can imagine the whole work that goes into that. The same thing with someone like Dr. Gavu is involved actively. You don't know what this guy does. 2 a.m. is calling me for AFRE stuff. We are sitting down doing AFRE stuff. And that was I did mention previously that the fund I got from James Webb they wrote an email saying that, thank you for your assistance at the African Relief Society. We are aware that you assist in these areas. That was it. And that was how they funded me. They paid for my hotel. They paid for, can't remember, maybe my flight, or I can't remember now. But they funded my journey to the US. you know. So apart from those two things that has worked for me, compelling and strong letters of motivation. We have trained some of our members at the Future Leaders of the African Society on how to write strong letters of motivation. I wrote a book on that. It's an ebook. I've shared it times that number. I will share it again and in subsequent times so that we can. I've simplified it. I've made it chronological in order so that you understand how to answer these questions, because you will be faced with some certain questions that will trigger your eligibility. Why are you deserving of this award? What will this opportunity do? What are the implications of this opportunity for your career? And if you can't specifically articulate why this funding is important for you, then you won't be awarded, and you will hate those who are being awarded. Sorry, I'm saying that. So we all know that we need to get skilled in the art and science of writing compelling and strong letters of motivation or personal statements. You can also speak to Dr. Jonathan, Dr. Gavu. I mean, they're quite good in that. Then I did mention strategic references and referrals. I had strong references, I mean, from the president of the African Relief Society, who was doubling as my PhD advisor. So you can see it was strategic positioning. Those of you who know me so well, you know that when I was going for my first ever conference in 2015, I think Professor Akinsomi must have talked about this in Ghana, talking about how I was just going around with him. It was strategic. I knew what I wanted. I knew that having Professor Akinsomi in my journey will be strategic, you know, and yeah, he almost said, no, just go to Australia, I almost left him, but I figured I'd done my investigation. I'd seen that, okay, he's very good in these areas. I need a mentor like this. And of course, if you have a mentor like that, there's going to be a replication of what the mentor does, right? Including accessing opportunities of this nature. So I wanted that. So that was pretty strategic for me. So identify individuals' success. Well, we are all still aiming to and pushing towards the ultimate success. But again, I can tell you that to a certain extent, there are some people within the African Relief Society that have achieved what is a dream for some people. So what I'm saying in essence is strategically position yourself around them, move with them. You may not like their guts, but because of what you want to get from them, fine. You know, I mean, at some point, I can say this. I know that's probably like if he's here, I hope this is not being recorded. If he's there, we'll just be laughing and saying, this guy. At some points, I didn't like his guts. I was like, you know, what kind of course, I mean, that's bound to happen, you know, when you're doing a PhD, you'll be mentally sapped and things like that. But because of the positives far outweighing the negatives, there was not a negative. I was the one that created that negativity, thinking that it was negative. But no, it wasn't, you know. But at the end of the day, I stuck with him, and that was strategic for me. So you need these opportunities come with, so majority of them come with references or referrals. Okay, let me give you a typical example, and I'm gonna move to the next thing there. My journey to Germany started from a conference in Abeokuta, and it was just because I went for the conference. I knew this professor was coming, and I wanted to work with him. You know, he was coming from the University of Regensburg International Relations Business School. And then during the cocktail, I just walked up to him and I started sharing my ideas. I told him, look, I've gone through your work. I've seen what you've published. I told him about a specific journal. I spoke to him about the specific methodology that I had adopted for a study of that nature, REIT, performance, and it was wild. Like, oh, great. While I was having that conversation, Professor Akinsomi, my supervisor, and I think at that time, I'm not sure it was, I'm not sure he was vice president. I'm not sure he was vice president of AFRES, but he was ranking at that time too. So he just simply walked up to us and he was like, "Oh, I mean, Shem is my student and my PhD student. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it." And within 10 minutes discussion, that was it. And 6 months after that, I was already in Germany. 6 months after that, I was already in Germany. I first got my letter of invitation. Before you can get a letter, that's where I'm going to, because these things are threads. They are twined, they are intertwined. I first got my letter. Before you can get a letter of invitation from a German professor, it's quite tough. So, but for me to have gotten a letter within 2 weeks after the conference, it was pretty amazing, right? So referrals are very powerful. Names open doors. Once you are affiliated with a certain name within a real estate space, it opens doors. I just write mails these days and I say, "Oh, I am Professor Kola Akinsomi's student." Oh, then this guy starts responding and then boom. Oh, okay. Sometimes they have to do a background check to see if it's true. When they are responding, they now copy him and they're like, "Oh," but they won't say things like, "Oh, is this true?" But you can tell from the signal, right? So names open doors within the real estate space. I can tell you that categorically. Dr. Gavo knows this, and other people who have achieved funding of this nature, they know this. All right, now the last one, which is very important. One door opens other doors. We all need one yes. We all need one door to open. And I got my first door, and that door opened other doors. So where you are placed is like a stepping stone to other opportunities. So for instance, I was resilient enough to go through a PhD that almost broke my head, and to God's glory, completed it. And I became a senior lecturer. And from becoming a senior lecturer, I started to access global opportunities that are available to academics of my nature. So, and that's how these things work. Baby steps. So what I've said to each and every one of us today is not magic, it's not a walk in the park, it's not rocket science. It comes with baby steps, resilience, strategic positioning, understanding the process. Not also compromising the success of others to achieving yours, right? Not engaging in double dipping. Those are things I learned from my supervisor. Double dipping, you get funding from one place and from another place for one event, and you are quiet about it. And if they find out, then you are blacklisted. So so many of these things I've learned over the years, and I'm shooting them out to each and every one of us today, so that we can also start to vigorously achieve and attain opportunities of this nature. All right, so this is where I end my my talk. I've intentionally left some things not said, because I know that they will come out when it's time for questions and answers. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, thank you, Fiona. Thank you for the reminder. All right, so I think, yeah, I can give you back the microphone so you can take the floor. Hi, Fiona. Okay, I'll mute you. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sean. You have been very, very generous. I don't know about you guys, but I feel wiser right now. I don't know if anyone has questions. There was one that was posted in the group already. Maybe we could start with that as others prepare their questions. Dr. Sean, somebody asked if any of these scholarships allow for flexibility for scholars to stay in the UK after the fact.
Okay, brilliant question. So it will depend on the scholarship. For instance, I think Commonwealth, there are some there's a caveat to that you have to return to your home country. So it's dependent on the sort of on a kind of funding opportunity you're about to access. This is why it's important to entirely get exposed to the eligibility criteria. Read the clause, read if there's a bond, understand. So you need to understand I mean what their eligibility criteria says. It's that simple. Fiona.
Thank you, Doctor. Do we have any other questions, guys? You could put up your hands and ask. No, I think there's another one in the chat. This person says, I have energy background. Do you have any solar or bioenergy researches or opportunities for masters and PhD? Thank you. That's Mohammed Aden.
Okay. I think this must have come from LinkedIn. So, of course, there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of funding opportunities around the world. So please, I want to plead with us. There's an understanding we must have, perhaps from 2024 upward, onwards, is to understand what a funder will want to see. It's really not about there opportunities. There are opportunities. On jobs.ac.uk alone, there are so many opportunities for guys within the real estate space, within bioenergy, solar. I mean, I'm talking about academic opportunities, PhD opportunities. They are there. But the process is what I'm always upbeat about. The process. How do you attract funding towards a solar or bioenergy research, whether I'm master's or PhD by research, master's by research, is to, there's various steps, right? The first step is to first identify if the opportunity requires that you look for a host, is to first investigate who the host is. I think on a platform of this nature, I did teach people on how to identify or filter who your host should be. The boxes the host should tick, right? I remember I did that, I think, a couple of months ago. Apart from that, but understanding what nexus exists between your research interest and the host research interest, right? Understanding that funders are always attracted towards what the world is currently discussing about. Yeah. If I'm a funder, what I will be looking out for is cutting-edge research. And cutting-edge research stems from recency, currency of literature, currency of discussions around topical issues. What are topical issues? Issues that are currently being discussed with whatever the world is discussing about now. Your ideas, ESG, environmental, social governance factors. How can we weave that around a solar or bioenergy topic, research topic? How can we weave convolutionary neural networks, CNN, or artificial neural networks around pricing of real estate itself, or performance of real estate, or performance of property stocks? How can we weave things like prop tech around facilities management? This is how to do these things. That's how, for instance, in my research for my PhD, the Black economic empowerment policy and economic policy in South Africa was unique to South Africa. It was one paper. That paper got me my first job in the UK. Because at the interview, the question I was being asked was, how did you come about this topic? And I did say to them, it was topical. And we found a way to weave it. So the connectedness or the interdisciplinary nature of research is beautiful today. You find accounting, you find accounting models solving real estate problems. In my PhD, I was looking at earnings management, and I looked at sort models within accounting, like Healy model, Jones model, modified Jones model, industry model, in detecting earnings management among REITs. It was fascinating, right? I looked at Black economic empowerment. It was an issue in South Africa. It was topical, right? The last paper I talked about won Best Paper Award at the African Real Society, and that came out with a prize. This is how you can attract funding. There are many research ideas flying around, but how you can gain the interest of funders, of recruiter, employer, weave around your research ideas what the world is currently discussing. What are the implications of the Russia-Ukraine war on the performance of property stocks in Germany, or far in Nigeria, far in South Africa? What are the implications of the coup d'etat in West Africa? Of what implications? What are the kind of questions I'm saying now? I'm afraid. What are the implications for your research idea, and how do you then bring about a nexus, establish that nexus between your research interest and that of the would-be supervisor? I think that answers the question.
Thank you, Doctor, for that very comprehensive response. I think in the interest of time, if you could just, I'll just read the next few questions together, and then you can just give us the quickest responses so that Dr. Gabo can give us a word before we're out. Ose would like for you to be their mentor. Ose, forms were shared in the Fluffers page that you can fill out for the mentorship program. We will share that again. Olaitun says, what are the top areas of real estate with high propensity for funding?
Okay, PropTech, number one. PropTech, property technology, but not just PropTech, situate specificity, integrate specificity into this. In essence, within PropTech, there are still areas, blockchain, whatever it is, situate a topical topic or a topical issue within PropTech. The second for me would be ESG, sustainability, net zero, anything net zero. Yeah, that's number two for me. And then three for me would be REIT performance. So in order of preference for me, it will be PropTech. Second would be, what did I mention now? Sustainability or ESG. And then three would be REIT performance. So it could be anything, REIT pricing, underpricing, whatever it is. Those are my top areas.
Thank you, Doctor. I think that ESV Kemi Folarin, your question has somewhat been answered by that. And we'll take the final question from Godlove Kusilika. For PhDs, do you need to have a compact proposal before applying for funding? And in your experience, are there any funders who accept one based on interests and merits and leave the possibility for developing research topic onwards after courseworks? I think that will be our last question.
So funders would never place something on nothing. Simple as that. It's linear, without ambiguity. they will never place something on nothing. So it has to be something on something. You have, I mean, before I got 25,000 US dollars for my PhD. I had to produce a proposal, right? So they will not fund what they have not seen. So you need a compact proposal. And that compact proposal is inherent with the introduction, right? Usually 3 chapters. The introduction, which is inherent with the background to the study, the research questions emanating from the background to the study, right? The statement of the problem, the aim and objectives, and then literature review, and then a strong research methodological approach.
Thank you so much, Doc.
Okay, then
Oh,
the second part, it
okay.
says, in your experience, are there any funders who accept one based on interest and merits and leave? Okay, so for PhD, the question, if I get it well, of developing a research topic onwards after doing a bit of coursework. Yeah, so you see, here's the thing, in the university setting, when you're asked to submit a research proposal, it's really to test the extent of your research exposure, how well you are exposed to research, right? Eventually, it may not be what you will do, in the long run. I mean, for the entire PhD. In my case, I only submitted international diversification strategies for real estate, blah blah blah. That was not what I did eventually. I now focused on essays for REITs and things like that. So you will have to, back to what I said earlier, I'm looking at the question, just trying to understand it. You'll have to, it's based on the strength of the research proposal. It's based on the strength of the research journey. So not just the research proposal, but the research journey. How workable this research is. Are there implications at the end? To who is this research important for? So you must bring to bear all those very important elements. Who are going to benefit from this research? Government, what is the specific implications for government? I mean, what are the specific implications for government? What are specific implications for regulators? What are specific implications for practitioners? And what are specific implications for researchers? Specificity. Once you're able to do all of that, that's the rule of the game. You get the funding in your pockets. I mean, for instance, in my case, despite the fact that I got scholarship for my PhD, I still went ahead to ask for, and I was one who titled it Doctoral Completion Grant. I told them I needed a grant for the next 6 months towards the end of I needed money to pay for my rent, I needed money to do this and blah, 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 blah. And they asked me to write a motivation, I did. And these were the things I was saying to them. The implications of this research will be this, will be that, will be this. And I gave them timelines. But you can't give timelines to what is not workable, right? So let's get our axe well sharpened, and it's a thread. We'll get these opportunities coming, running after us.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sean. Yet another comprehensive response. I don't know if anyone has further questions. Maybe we could address this to Dr. Sean on the Fluffer's page, DM, I suppose. Is that okay, Doctor?
I usually charge.
Oh, will that be a flat?
It's $25 for 45 minutes with me. No, don't worry. I'm just joking. Don't think. I mean, we need money.
But thank you.
Everybody around me has been saying, Sheon, we have been doing impact. Is it impact that you do for the rest of your life? Make money. So
impact has to come with the dollars.
$25. That's why I'm going to start charging from next year by God's grace. 45 minutes, $25.
Thank you so much, Doctor. I think at this point, if we have no further questions, we can allow our chair, our Fluffer's chair, a minute to greet the masses before Christmas. Yeah, the clock is running out on us. Dr. Gavo, please.
Yes, thank you everyone.
Dr. Gabo,
for
have we lost
joining.
him?
No.
Great.
Am I audible? Okay, great. Yeah, so thank you all for joining this session. It's been great to have one brother around to take us through the process. And one thing I must add is that it takes lots of time and resilience. So he's presenting it within a space of 1 hour. You would need to go online and do lots of hard work, and that is where the meat is. And going online and doing the search and reading to make sure you meet the requirements like you mentioned, as well as making sure that whatever statements or questions which are being asked of you, you are doing it well. And also the fact that you are doing it well does not mean you will get the funding. So let's take note of that as well. And at times, behind our success stories, it's also numerous rejections, which most of you do not see or hear about. So it takes time and effort to get through to these, but in the end, it's worth it if you look at the outputs. So just don't get sad that after Dr. Shewon's message, I applied for 2 scholarships and none of them looked my way. So I'm done with whatever is called scholarships or funding. It doesn't work that way. So make sure you are up to the task and mentally prepared for, the whole haul, which is quite a lonely road at times. So think of that as well. And for the festivities, I know most of us are, depending on which part of the world you are in at the moment, it's either the economy is good or the economy is bad or in between. Whichever way, have fun, enjoy the season. It only comes once in your lifetime. This season will not come again. So maximize it, enjoy the fullness of it. And the religious ones, remember also the God factor. And just also remember, somebody says the economy is lukewarm. Interesting. So, just enjoy the season, like I say, and just make the best out of it. You might not understand everything, but live to the max so that you do not live a life of regrets. And thank you all for joining, and have a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year, like we say it every year, but this time with more meaning to it than over the years. Thank you to Shewon as well for the presentation, Fiona for ramping up everything to make sure this happens today. I think on the back, people are wondering why on the 22nd, we still want to have a last Flatfresh program, but I think it's worth it. And so thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the evening and the rest of the season. Yeah, so Fiona, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Chair. I see that the president is here, and I think it's just worth it to invite our highly respected president of the African Relief Society. Thank you so much for joining, sir. I'll just ask him to say a few words to us. Thank you so much for joining, sir. Mr. Kunia Wolaja. Is he here? Hello, sir. Okay.
Okay. I hope you can hear me now.
Very well, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Very well, sir.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Hello, yes, can you hear me now, Sean? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I really enjoyed your presentation. Fortunately, it was ways that I won't want to really show my face, but it was good, and that's the way you should go. And it's quite commendable. What I want to say is just Merry Christmas to all of us and prosperous New Year. And it's going to be a beautiful, blessed Afres year 2024. Thank you so much, Sheon. Thank you, Gavu. Thank you, everybody in Flafres. Love you all. Thank you. Bye for now.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Yawad.
Yeah, let me say, okay, let me allow everybody to unmute. So everyone can unmute. You can greet and speak. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Have a Merry Christmas, guys. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Nutifafa,
Yeah.
thank you.
Hey, how are you?